Megan commented, "You're predictable. Craig knows how to astonish his wife," and shared a glance with him. In that instant, I believed she was accurate. However, I erred, and it had no connection to me. The taxi deposited me at the Pasadena house past nightfall. I returned from Milan a few days ahead of schedule and brought 2 rare Italian wine bottles as a surprise. But the residence was vacant. At midnight, all that awaited me was total darkness and the aroma of aged coffee. Around 2 a.m., I found myself on the couch with my tablet when I heard keys in the door. Megan appeared startled upon seeing me in the dimly lit living room. "David, you scared me. I thought you were still in Italy," she said, shocked. She didn't approach for a hug. Instead, she simply dropped her bag on the floor. "I wanted to surprise you. Where did you go, Meg?" She drank some water, took a few quick gulps, and then faced me again. "I'm exhausted. I just need rest." 10 o'clock marked the end of our shoot, after which I slid into the car, seemingly losing consciousness. Awake in the dead of night, I immediately drove home. The gentle glow from the lamps revealed her paleness, and the darkness beneath her eyes suggested exhaustion. She looked drained. This wasn't typical behavior for Megan, a fitness enthusiast who values health and comfort above all. Yet, the thought of spending hours cooped up in a car parked in obscurity would have filled her with dread. In that instant, I chose not to contemplate any negative scenarios. Instead, I simply acknowledged her and we retired to bed. The following day, we brought an Italian bottle of wine to visit Craig and Diana. Owner of a fitness club, Diana had nurtured the project from its inception, now standing as its leading figure. My wife, Megan, worked as a trainer at her club and created the online classes that Craig, Diana's husband, filmed and edited. They had just wrapped up a new season of workout videos. To ensure the video's quality and the sportswear's appearance on camera, we had examined the footage and found ourselves in the living room, comfortably seated and enjoying a glass of white wine. Suddenly, Craig disclosed that he and Diana would be flying to Aspen for Christmas. Delighted, Diana kissed her husband affectionately. In that moment, Megan, with obvious irritation, turned to me and remarked, "You're so dull, David." Now Craig knows how to surprise his wife. "You return from Milan, you bring a bottle of wine, and you think that's sufficient. You no longer see me as a woman. All you focus on is your fitness clothes." The room became tense and uncomfortable. I gave my wife a stern glance, noticing the quick exchange of glances between her and Craig. A hint of mockery was visible in her eyes. Afterwards, Diana and Megan left for dessert, leaving Craig and me alone. Discussing work, I casually brought up a strain in my relationship with my wife. Upon hearing this, Craig empathized and comfortingly patted my shoulder. "David," he suggested confidentially, "if you keep watching her every move or quarreling unnecessarily, it will only escalate the problems." He continued, "She requires a fresh environment, an opportunity to rejuvenate. Treat her to a 3-month spa resort membership in Palm Springs. Allow her to escape, be by herself, relax, enjoy the pool, and get massages. Offer her a space to free herself from work pressure. I assure you she will value your concern." Craig's advice, arriving precisely when needed, felt like a burden lifted. I realized my preoccupation with work had blinded me to romance. Silently, I thanked him for helping me see the situation objectively at home. I decided not to procrastinate further. The day after purchasing the pass, I presented the envelope to Megan during dinner. She appreciated the idea, wrapping her arms around my neck with joy, revealing she planned to visit Palm Springs over the weekend. I shared her excitement, feeling this small act might help repair our bond. I genuinely thought a trip to Palm Springs would benefit Megan, but now she was leaving for the spa resort every weekend, a change that left us seldom spending time together. We barely crossed paths. I'd see her only briefly in the mornings and evenings, with heavy loneliness enveloping our home on days when I took fresh clothes to the fitness club. One night, roused by a faint screen glow, I discovered Megan was awake, quietly texting someone while facing away from me. Inquisitive, I asked, furrowing my brow, who she was conversing with at that hour. Megan jolted suddenly, promptly turned her phone screen down, and mentioned she was merely selecting tunes for the upcoming photo shoot. She then hurried up, donned a robe, and proceeded to the kitchen. I remained there alone, listening for a while to the faint sound of fingers tapping on glass originating from the kitchen. At that moment, it dawned on me clearly. It wasn't about Megan being fatigued or overwhelmed by work. Megan was concealing something from me. In the morning, I directly questioned her during breakfast. "Megan, what's the issue? Is there someone else?" She paused with a coffee cup in her hand, then placed it on the table, irritated. Are you serious? David, you're becoming possessive and suspicious. I simply require personal space and you're suffocating me with all this supervision. She turned around, slammed the door, and departed for the fitness center. Well, I thought, eventually the truth would surface. And that day did arrive. The call from Palm Springs came during work hours. A resort manager questioned renewing Megan's pass for the following month during a phone call, as Megan had only visited the resort twice that month. This caught me off guard, as I knew Megan frequented the resort every weekend. I told the manager I would consult my wife about the renewal and get back to them. Upon inquiry, I discovered that my wife was in Los Angeles for a few days on business, and while she was away, Megan was visiting Palm Springs for swimming and massages. On Thursday morning, I found out. Megan packed a gym bag in her Porsche and departed. Later that day, I called the spa resort again to ask if Megan had been there. They politely replied that she hadn't that day. Concerned, I drove straight to the fitness club but found no sign of Megan. Perplexed about the current situation, I peered into the studio, yet found no sign of Megan. Her phone remained unresponsive. I thus resolved to discuss matters with Craig. However, the receptionist informed me he wouldn't be at work today. Driving to his residence, Megan's Porsche was parked in the driveway, arousing my suspicion. With the assumption that they were perhaps filming as usual, I wondered why it was taking place at his house and on the day Diana departed for Los Angeles. This seemed odd. Knocking on the door, the echo died away within the dwelling, silencing any potential responses. No footsteps or voices could be heard. I strolled along the path bordering the house and discovered a spacious patio at the back with a pool nearby. By the water's edge lay 2 robes and glasses arranged orderly. One more step closer, and my disbelief was confirmed. Megan and Craig were submerged in the water, embracing tightly, with her arms around his neck and him holding her waist. Megan leaned her head on Craig's shoulder, and he quietly whispered into her ear while stroking her damp hair. Nearby, glasses of pink wine sat on the pool edge. For a brief moment, I remained stationary, observing. It was all evident without utterance. Hidden behind foliage, I eventually grasped the cause of the sudden chill that had arisen between us. The late-night messages, the persistent fatigue, and most significantly, Craig's suggestion to gift Megan a spa pass. He was merely creating room for himself. I retrieved my phone from my pocket and began recording. Megan and Craig were chortling, conversing about a topic, appearing untroubled as though no one would bother them that day. I captured a few minutes of video footage before retreating cautiously and making my way out. In the car, I replayed the recording. Then I slumped into the seat, closing my eyes. At that instant, it became clear to me that my former life was over. They had tricked me, and I was the one who had funded their leisure trips. That night, Megan arrived home at 9, looking relaxed and content. She shared stories of her fantastic massage, refreshing pool, and lovely day in Palm Springs. Yet every word she spoke was a falsehood, unbeknownst to Diana, Craig's wife, who still thought their marriage was flawless. That night, I struggled to sleep. Megan lay beside me as if nothing had altered in our lives. A few days later, Diana contacted me. She wanted to discuss the latest clothing shipment for the fitness club and upcoming shoots with Megan. At one point, she asked, "By the way, how are things going between you two?" "Everything all right? You've been so busy lately, you haven't stopped by in a while." I hesitated momentarily before replying. Recently, I wouldn't have responded with much more than "we're just tired, lots of work." However, those words seemed hollow to me now. There was a truth that Diana couldn't fathom. I glanced at my phone screen where the video from the pool was stored, and I said, "To be honest, I visited Craig a few days ago. Remember, you were in Los Angeles at that time." "I apologize, Diana." For a brief moment, there was silence from her end. "David, what do you mean?" "What are you apologizing for?" She had no idea what I was talking about. "I didn't want you to find out like this," I replied, feeling my heart race. "But I recorded a video and you need to watch it." I located the recording, attached it to a message, and for a few seconds hesitated before pressing send. I knew that in a minute her life would be forever altered. Yet she needed to know the truth, so I sent it. For several minutes there was no response from her. I glanced at my phone but found no new messages waiting. I was growing worried she hadn't watched the video I sent. Then she phoned, asking if I could visit. Without hesitation, I headed to the gym and straight to her office. She sat behind her desk, trying hard to maintain composure, yet her quivering lips and red-rimmed eyes spoke volumes. She hid her face with her hands, and her shoulders subtly shook. "He said he'd take me to Aspen for Christmas," she murmured. "He kissed me yesterday. Told me how much he missed me. How can someone fake it like that?" Looking at her stirred a hollow sensation within me, echoing my own experiences from those initial hours of discovering deceit. When one replayed the question again and again in their mind, wondering, how could I have been so oblivious? She walked to the window overlooking sunny Pasadena, while beyond the glass, people continued with their ordinary lives. Cars traversed city streets, an individual entered a cafe, someone hastened elsewhere, and her life mere moments ago had fragmented into before and after. "I won't speak to him," she asserted, swiveling towards me abruptly. "I have no desire to hear his pitiful apologies or gaze into his deceitful eyes. I established this fitness club, and I won't permit him to continue being a part of my existence." We agreed to confront them the following day, right within the fitness club. Craig and Megan were arranging to publish the latest season of their workout routines on the platform. That night at home, everything was as customary. Megan wandered about the kitchen, humming some melody, occupied with cooking dinner. She inquired cheerfully about my day. I falsified and said the day had been monotonous. Observing her was intolerable. However, now I knew. The following day, this entire charade would cease to exist permanently. In the morning, the fitness club buzzed with activity. In the editing studio, Craig and Megan welcomed us with satisfaction over their completed work. Craig casually occupied a chair before the monitor, while Megan demonstrated the final workout clips on a tablet to Diana. Despite the recent events, they maintained their usual camaraderie, exchanging jokes. "All right, team," Craig declared emphatically, resting his hand on the mouse. "The visuals are out of this world, the audio is flawless." "Should we publish the new season on the platform?" Diana approached, retrieving a flash drive from her purse and inserting it into Craig's computer. Her expression was tranquil despite her paleness. "Let's first watch this," she suggested. Craig appeared perplexed, then selected the video file from the drive. Megan stared at the monitor with interest as the pool video appeared on screen. In the clip, Megan embraced Craig, and he held her waist gently while running his fingers through her wet hair. The room became so uncharacteristically silent that one could hear the computer's hum. Megan swiftly lost her smile, turning her gaze toward me. Craig remained silent, averting his eyes. Deanna glanced at the screen momentarily before declaring, "I can no longer collaborate with any of you. You have 1 hour to collect your belongings and depart from my club permanently." She exited, striding into the hallway. I pushed open the massive glass door, exiting onto the parking lot. The Pasadena sun struck me instantly, as if scorching the residual trust out of my consciousness. I climbed into the car and drove home. A month later, Megan and I parted ways through divorce. As for Diana, her subsequent life remains unknown to me. However, our business partnership persisted. 2 months following this incident, a fresh season of online workouts debuted, boasting a new trainer and camera operator. We managed to set aside that betrayal and move forward. This narrative concludes. Did the character disappoint you once more? Is his action acceptable to you as depicted in this tale? Share your thoughts below.